Through the window, they saw a bright light cutting through the storm clouds. A Confederation ship heading directly for the tower. "We need more time," Susan said frantically. "The synchronization isn't complete." Crozet made a decision. "I can buy you time." He headed for the door. "What are you doing?" Lisa called after him. "What I should have done from the beginning," he replied, standing against control. Outside, Crozet activated his ship remotely. It rose into the air and flew toward the approaching Confederation vessel. The two ships engaged, bright energy weapons firing back and forth through the storm clouds. Inside the tower building, the equipment reached full power. "Now," Susan shouted. Lisa pressed the broadcast button. The tower glowed with energy as the signal went out around the world. The crystal key pulsed with light. On screens around them, they watched as points of light activated across the globe, barrier nodes coming online. A network of energy began to form in the atmosphere. The Confederation ship fired a powerful beam at the tower, but just before it hit, a shimmering field appeared. The beam struck the field and dissipated. "The barrier is activating," Susan cried triumphantly. All across Earth, people looked up as the sky briefly shimmered with a strange light, then returned to normal. Most would think it was just an unusual weather phenomenon. The Confederation ships tried to break through the barrier, but couldn't. One by one, they retreated back into space. Crozet's damaged ship landed roughly near the tower. Lisa ran to it and found him injured but alive. "Earth is protected now," he said weakly. "For 20 years at least." "And after that?" Lisa asked. "By then," Crozet smiled slightly, "humanity will be ready to join the galactic community on its own terms. As equals, not subjects." Agent Doyle approached them. "The government will want answers about what happened today." "Then let's give them answers," Lisa said. "The full truth. It's time Earth knew about its place in the galaxy." As they looked up at the clearing sky, a new age began, one where humanity would chart its own destiny among the stars. The old radio tower on Miller's Ridge stood tall against the stormy sky. Lisa, Peter, and Crozet waited inside the small control building at its base. They had connected their equipment to the tower's systems, ready to broadcast the activation signal. "It's noon," Peter said, looking at his watch. No sign of Doyle. Lisa sighed. "We'll have to do this ourselves then." "The signal may not reach far enough without proper equipment," Crozet warned. "This tower is powerful, but not enough for global coverage." Just then, they heard a car approaching. Through the window, they saw Agent Doyle step out. He wasn't alone. 3 other people were with him. "That's Susan Bell," Lisa gasped, recognizing her former mentor. "She's alive." They went outside to meet the newcomers. Susan Bell looked older than Lisa remembered, with more gray in her hair. The other 2 people were a man and woman Lisa didn't recognize. "Dr. Winters," Doyle said formally, "I've made my decision. This is bigger than government secrets or classified research." Susan stepped forward and hugged Lisa. "I'm sorry I disappeared," she said. "When I found the first barrier node, they came after me. I've been in hiding, working with others who know the truth. These are Dr. Alan Wright and Dr. Kate Nelson," Doyle explained, introducing the others. They'd been helping Dr. Bell monitor Confederation activity. "You knew about the Confederation?" Lisa asked, surprised. "For years," Susan replied. "We tracked their observers on Earth, but couldn't prove anything to the authorities. When your signal translations started appearing in the NASA system, I knew you found what I had." "We don't have much time," Crozet interrupted. "The Confederation ships will begin their descent within hours." The newcomers stared at Crozet with a mix of fear and wonder. "An actual Urukai," Susan whispered. "You were right about everything, Agent Doyle." Doyle nodded. "Dr. Bell, show them what we brought." Susan opened a large case from the car. Inside was advanced communication equipment, unlike anything Lisa had seen before. "This will boost your signal globally," Susan explained. "And we've brought something else." She held up a small crystal device. the key to synchronize all barrier nodes instantly. Where did you get that? Crozet asked, clearly surprised. From an Urukai who crashed on Earth 50 years ago, Susan said, one who believed in the rebellion's cause. They worked quickly, connecting the equipment to the tower. The storm grew stronger, with lightning striking closer each time. The Confederation ships are moving, Crozet announced, checking a device from his ship. They've begun descent. We have minutes, not hours. Lisa inserted the crystal key into their system. Ready when you are, Susan. Susan nodded and began the activation sequence. The equipment hummed with power as the signal prepared to broadcast. Wait, Peter said suddenly. Won't the Confederation detect this and stop it before it completes? They already know, Crozet said grimly. Look, Agent Frank Doyle sat alone in his car, parked outside the small diner. His head still hurt from where the alien had struck him. He touched the bump gently and winced. His phone buzzed. A text message from an unknown number. Blue booth inside. Come alone if you want the truth. Doyle looked at the diner. Through the window, he could see a woman in the blue booth, wearing a hat and sunglasses. Lisa Winters. He entered cautiously, hand near his concealed gun. As he slid into the booth across from her, he noticed she was alone. Dr. Winters, he said quietly. You're wanted for theft of classified materials. Is that why you've been following me for 3 days without calling for backup? Lisa asked. Doyle's face showed surprise. You knew. We've been watching you too, she replied. You saw something at Susan Bell's station that made you curious. Something that didn't match what your bosses told you. Doyle was silent for a moment. Where's your friend? And the other one? Safe, Lisa said. The question is, what side are you on, Agent Doyle? The side that wants to know the truth, or the side that wants to hide it? She slid a small device across the table. It looked like a normal flash drive. Everything is on here. The signals, the translations, the barrier system. Lisa's voice was steady. And proof that we are not alone in the universe. That Earth is being controlled by forces we never knew existed. Doyle didn't touch the drive. Why me? Because you hesitated at the station. When you found my research, you read it first instead of bagging it as evidence. Lisa leaned forward. And because we need someone with access to broadcast equipment powerful enough to reach the entire planet. Broadcast what exactly? A signal that will activate a defense system hidden on Earth thousands of years ago. A system that will protect us from what's coming. Doyle finally picked up the drive. And what is coming, Dr. Winters? More like him, Lisa said. But they won't be helping us. The diner door opened. 3 men in dark suits entered, scanning the room. Government agents. Time's up, Lisa said calmly. Your colleagues have found you. Decision time, Agent Doyle. The agents spotted them and started walking toward their booth. Meet us tomorrow at noon, Lisa whispered, sliding out of the booth. The old radio tower on Miller's Ridge. If you're not there, we'll know your answer. She walked quickly toward the back exit. The agents noticed and started to follow. But Doyle stood up, blocking their path. Agent Doyle, one said. Where is she going? Bathroom, I think, Doyle replied. I was just having coffee when she walked in. Lucky coincidence. The agent looked suspicious. You didn't call it in. Was about to, Doyle said, holding up his phone. Let's take her quietly when she comes out. They waited 15 minutes before realizing Lisa had escaped through a back window. The other agents were furious, but Doyle pretended to share their frustration. That night, in his apartment, Doyle inserted the drive into his laptop. He watched videos of an alien ship, heard the actual voice of the creature called Crozet, read translations of messages from space. By morning, he had made his decision. At the same time, in Crozet's hidden ship, Lisa worked with Peter to prepare the broadcast signal. Will he come? Peter asked. I don't know, Lisa admitted, but we need to be ready either way. Crozet entered the room. My ship has detected multiple entry signatures in the upper atmosphere. 7 Confederation vessels have arrived. Lisa looked alarmed. 7. I thought you said they would send 1 or 2 enforcers. This is not a standard enforcement action anymore, Crozet explained. This is now a containment protocol. They will not just target you. They will eliminate anyone with knowledge of the barrier system or Confederation presence. How much time do we have? Peter asked. They will establish orbital positions for 12 hours before descending. Crozet looked grim. Then they will begin systematic elimination of targets. Lisa checked her watch. Noon is in 4 hours. We'll know then if Agent Doyle is with us. And if he is not? Crozet asked. Lisa looked at the equipment they had prepared. Then we find another way to broadcast the signal. Either way, we're activating the barrier today. We can't wait for the countdown to finish naturally. Outside, dark clouds gathered as a storm approached. Lightning flashed across the sky. But the real storm was the one coming from above, far beyond the clouds, where 7 ships now circled Earth, preparing to strike. Lisa made her decision quickly. Peter, grab my laptop and the hard drives. You can't be serious, Peter said. We're going with him, the alien who tried to kill us. We don't have much choice, Lisa replied, gathering papers with Susan's notes. And he could have killed us already if he wanted to. Crozet moved to the window. 6 humans approach, armed. We have little time. Lisa nodded to Peter, who reluctantly grabbed their equipment. They followed Crozet through a back door just as the front entrance burst open. Outside, they ran through the trees. Crozet moved with amazing speed but stayed with them. He led them to a small clearing where his ship sat, nearly invisible among the trees. Entered, he said, touching the side of the ship. A door appeared. Inside, the ship was smaller than Lisa expected. Strange lights glowed along curved walls. There were no buttons or screens that she recognized. Sit, Crozet instructed, pointing to curved seats. We will depart. The ship rose smoothly. Through a clear section of the wall, Lisa watched the research station grow smaller. She saw men in dark suits looking up, pointing at the sky. They cannot see us, Crozet explained. This vessel is shielded from human detection technology. When they were safely away, Lisa asked the question that had been burning in her mind. Why are you helping us now? What changed? Crozet touched symbols on the wall. The ship leveled off, flying just above the clouds. In 500 years as an enforcer, I have never questioned a mission, he said. But you spoke words from the ancient code, and you know about the barrier system. These things should be impossible. The message I decoded, Lisa explained. It contained those words and information about the barrier. That message was meant to activate sleeper agents among your kind, Crozet said, not to be intercepted by a human scientist. Peter leaned forward. Sleeper agents. There are aliens living on Earth. Not aliens. Humans who work with the rebellion. Crozet's expression was hard to read. The rebellion believes that control of species development is wrong. They have worked against the Confederation for millennia. Lisa connected her laptop to power from the ship. The countdown in the message. What happens when it reaches 0? The barrier activates, Crozet replied. It will shield Earth from Confederation interference for 1 cycle, about 20 of your years. Lisa typed quickly, pulling up Susan's notes. My mentor found parts of this system years ago. She mapped locations around the world where strange energy readings appeared. Look. She showed Crozet the map. He studied it carefully. These are barrier nodes, he confirmed, but they are inactive. They need a key to function together. What kind of key? Peter asked. Information. A code sequence that must be broadcast globally. Lisa's eyes widened. Susan's listener. It wasn't just for receiving signals. It could transmit too. Crozet nodded. Such technology should be beyond your species currently. Another sign of outside help. The ship's wall suddenly flashed red. Strange symbols appeared. What's happening? Lisa asked. The Confederation has detected unauthorized movement of my ship, Crozet said, touching symbols rapidly. They are sending orders for me to report. What will you tell them? Peter asked nervously. Nothing. I am not responding. Crozet looked grim. This means they will send others. More enforcers. Lisa looked at her laptop screen. The countdown shows 62 days remaining. Not enough time to activate all the barrier nodes before they arrive. We need to speed things up, Peter said. Can we broadcast the code sequence earlier? It must be precisely timed, Crozet explained. Too early and the nodes will not synchronize correctly. Lisa thought for a moment. Then we need help. Not just the three of us. Who? Peter asked. The government is after us. We can't trust them. We might not have to, Lisa said. Susan had friends, scientists who believed her theories, and she hesitated. We could try to contact Agent Doyle, the human who was tracking you. Crozet seemed surprised. He seemed different from the others. Lisa explained. I saw his face when he found my research. He wasn't just following orders. He was curious. A dangerous plan, Crozet said. Do you have a better one? Lisa asked. If more like you are coming, we need all the help we can get. Crozet was silent for a moment. Where do we begin? Take us back to Susan's station, Lisa said, but land away from it. I have an idea for contacting Doyle without getting caught. As the ship turned back toward the mountains, Lisa noticed Crozet studying her. You are not what I expected, Lisa Winters, he said quietly. Neither are you, she replied. Dr. Susan Bell's research station sat high in the mountains, hidden among tall pine trees. The building looked abandoned, with dusty windows and overgrown paths. Lisa used a key from under a fake rock to open the door. She always said this place was her real home, Lisa told Peter as they entered. After she disappeared, no one came up here. They thought her research was just crazy talk. Inside, everything was covered in dust. Old computers stood silent along the walls. Papers were scattered across desks. In the center of the main room was a large machine with many antennas and dishes. What is that? Peter asked. Susan called it her listener, Lisa explained. She built it to search for patterns in space noise. Everyone laughed at her. But I think she found something, just like I did. They spent hours cleaning and checking the equipment. Most of it still worked. By evening, Lisa had connected her laptop to Susan's systems. This is amazing, she said, eyes wide with excitement. Susan's equipment is picking up the signals much more clearly than NASA's. Look at all this data. Peter brought coffee as Lisa worked through the night. By morning, she had decoded much more of the message. The Confederation has been watching Earth for thousands of years, she explained to Peter. They control how species develop across the galaxy. If a planet advances too quickly, they step in. Step in how? Peter asked. They eliminate key scientists, destroy research, sometimes even cause disasters to set civilizations back. Lisa pointed to her screen. But there's a rebel group within the Confederation that believes species should develop naturally. They created something called the barrier system. Peter looked confused. What does that mean for us? It means Earth has friends out there. And enemies. Lisa pointed to a map on the wall. Susan marked these locations around the world. I think they're parts of the barrier system, hidden on Earth long ago. Just then, they heard a car approaching outside. Peter looked out the window. It's not him, he said with relief. It's a man and woman in suits. They look like government agents. Lisa quickly saved her work. We need to hide. If they're from my lab, they'll think we stole classified information. They hid in a small storage room as the agents entered the building. Through a crack in the door, they watched as the man and woman searched the main room. Agent Doyle, check this out, said the woman, pointing to Lisa's laptop. Someone's been working here recently. The man, Agent Doyle, picked up a coffee cup. Still warm. They might be close by. Lisa held her breath. If these agents found them, they would be taken back to the facility. Her work would be locked away. The countdown would reach 0 with Earth unprepared. Suddenly, a third figure appeared at the door. Tall, gray-skinned, moving like water. Crozet. The agents reached for their guns but weren't fast enough. With 2 quick movements, Crozet knocked them unconscious. "Dr. Winters," he called into the seemingly empty building. "I know you are here. We need to talk." Lisa and Peter stayed hidden, barely breathing. "I could find you easily," Crozet continued. "But I choose to speak first. The words you used, they are from the ancient code. No human should know them." Lisa whispered to Peter, "He sounds different, not threatening." "It's a trap," Peter whispered back. "You have found something that changes things," Crozet said. "I have questions about my mission now." Lisa made a decision. She slowly opened the storage room door. Peter tried to stop her, but she stepped out to face the alien assassin. "I'm listening," she said. Crozet studied her with those strange glowing eyes. "The barrier system you discovered. Do you understand what it means?" "I think so," Lisa replied cautiously. "It protects developing species from Confederation control." Crozet nodded slowly. "The rebels who created it disappeared long ago. Their technology was thought lost." He gestured to the unconscious agents. "Your own people hunt you. Why?" "They think I stole government secrets. They don't understand what's really happening." Outside, more cars approached. Crozet looked toward the sound. "More humans come. You must decide now, Dr. Winters. Do you trust me enough to leave with me, or stay and be captured by your own kind?" Lisa looked at Peter, who had emerged from hiding. Then back at Crozet, the alien sent to kill her who now offered help. "Why should we trust you?" she asked. "Because," Crozet said quietly, "I have begun to question the Confederation I serve. And that never happens to an enforcer." 3 days later, Lisa and Peter checked into a small motel under fake names. They had changed cars twice and bought new clothes to avoid being tracked. Lisa worked constantly on her laptop, trying to decode more of the alien message. "I think I've got something," she said as Peter returned with food. "Look at this section." The screen showed strange symbols that Lisa had partially translated. "This isn't just a warning," she explained. "It's information about a system, something called the Confederation." Peter sat down beside her. "What's the Confederation?" "From what I can tell, it's some sort of galactic government. And Earth is being watched by them." They ate quietly as Lisa continued working. Outside, rain began to fall. The small motel room felt safe, hidden away from everything. Just after midnight, Lisa sat up straight. "Peter, wake up." I translated more. Peter rolled off the second bed, still half asleep. "What is it?" "The countdown isn't a threat from the Confederation. It's a warning from someone else. When it reaches 0, something called a protection barrier will activate." Lisa's eyes were wide. "I think someone is trying to help Earth." Before Peter could respond, the lights went out. The room went completely dark. "Power outage," he whispered. "I don't think so," Lisa replied, closing her laptop to save the battery. They heard a soft click as the door's lock opened by itself. Cold air rushed into the room. Peter grabbed a lamp from the bedside table. Lisa clutched her laptop and backed against the wall. A tall shadow appeared in the doorway, darker than the night outside. 2 faintly glowing eyes looked directly at Lisa. "Dr. Lisa Winters," said a deep, strange voice. "Your research ends now." The alien stepped into the room. Up close, he was even more intimidating than he had appeared in the forest. His gray skin had faint patterns that seemed to shift in the darkness. In his hand was a device Lisa didn't recognize, but she guessed it was a weapon. "Who are you?" Lisa asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "I am Crozet, enforcer of the Galactic Confederation. You have accessed technology beyond your species' development level. This violation cannot be permitted." Lisa's mind raced. She remembered something from the translated message and took a chance. Secta Vornala, she said carefully, pronouncing the alien words as best she could. Crozet froze. His eyes widened slightly. How do you know the ancient greeting? Before he could recover from his surprise, Peter threw the lamp at him and grabbed Lisa's arm. They ran for the bathroom window, which Peter had checked earlier as an emergency exit. Crozet moved with incredible speed, but the lamp had hit his weapon, causing it to spark and malfunction. By the time he reached the bathroom, Lisa and Peter were already climbing out the window. They ran through the rain to their car. Peter started the engine as Lisa looked back. Crozet stood in the motel doorway, watching them. He wasn't chasing. He seemed confused. As they drove away, Lisa realized she was shaking. He called himself an enforcer. He's here to stop us from learning more. What were those words you said to him? Peter asked, driving quickly but carefully through the rain. From the message. It means freedom is our right in their language. It must be important. They drove through the night, staying off main roads. The encounter had changed everything. This wasn't just about a discovery anymore. It was about Earth's future. We need to go somewhere safe where I can finish the translation, Lisa said. I think I know what the countdown really means now. Where can we go? This Crozet will find us again. Lisa nodded. Yes, but now we know what we're dealing with. And I have an idea of where to go next. There's an old research station in the mountains that belonged to my mentor, Dr. Susan Bell. She was working on something similar to my project before she disappeared 3 years ago. You think she found something too? I think she might have left something that can help us. And the station has equipment I need. As dawn broke, they headed toward the mountains. Behind them, unseen, Crozet followed. But his mission had become complicated. Humans should not know the ancient language of the Confederation, and they certainly shouldn't know about the protection barrier. For the first time in his long career, Crozet had questions about his mission, and Lisa Winters was not the simple target he had expected. Lisa woke up suddenly. The digital clock by her bed showed 3:24 a.m. Someone was knocking on her door. She put on her glasses and grabbed her phone, ready to call security. Lisa, it's Peter, a voice whispered from outside. Lisa relaxed and opened the door. Peter Martinez stood there, looking worried. He was her friend and fellow scientist at the new secret facility. You need to check your email, Peter said, entering her small room. Right now. Lisa opened her laptop. A new message waited in her inbox from an address she didn't recognize. The subject line read, "Danger coming." "What is this?" she asked. "I got one too," Peter replied. "Open it." The email contained only 3 sentences. They know what you found. They are sending someone to stop you. You have less than 24 hours. Lisa felt cold. This could be a prank. Peter shook his head. I don't think so. Look at the data attached. Lisa opened the file. It showed the same cosmic radiation patterns she had been studying, but with additional layers of information she hadn't decoded yet. This was real. Pack your things, Peter said. We need to leave. Leave? We can't just walk out of a secret government facility. I have a plan, Peter said, but we need to hurry. While Lisa packed her research data onto a special drive, Peter explained. He had been working on a side project, a way to mask their heat signatures from security cameras. It wasn't perfect, but it might work long enough for them to reach the emergency exit. An hour later, they walked calmly through the dark hallways. Guards passed without noticing them. Peter's device was working. They reached the parking garage and took Peter's car. As they drove away from the facility, Lisa looked back through the window. All seemed quiet. Who do you think sent that warning? She asked. Maybe someone who doesn't want you silenced, Peter replied. Someone who wants your research to continue. They drove through the night, stopping only for gas. By morning, they were 3 states away, in a small town where Peter had a cabin that few people knew about. Lisa set up her equipment while Peter bought supplies. She had to continue her work. The countdown from the alien message now showed only 89 days remaining. That night, they saw a bright light in the sky. It wasn't a plane or a star. It moved too purposefully. "It's coming down," Peter said, watching through binoculars. "About 5 miles from here." Lisa felt fear, but also excitement. "We need to see it." "That's crazy," Peter argued. "If someone came to stop you, we should be running the other way. Or we should know what we're dealing with," Lisa countered. "Knowledge is our only advantage right now." They took the car to within a mile of where the light had landed, then continued on foot. In a small clearing, they found it. A smooth metal object about the size of a car. It had no visible doors or windows. "That's not human technology," Peter whispered. Suddenly, the object's surface rippled, and a section opened. Lisa and Peter ducked behind trees. From their hiding spot, they watched as a tall figure emerged. It stood at least 7 feet tall with gray skin that seemed to absorb the moonlight. Its movements were fluid, almost graceful. It carried strange devices that looked like weapons. "Oh my God," Lisa whispered. "Actual alien contact." The creature's head turned sharply in their direction. Its eyes glowed slightly in the darkness. "It heard you," Peter hissed. "We need to go. Now." They ran back toward the car, not daring to look behind them. Just as they reached the vehicle, they heard a sound like electricity crackling through the air. "Drive," Lisa yelled as they jumped in. Peter started the engine and sped away. In the rearview mirror, Lisa caught a glimpse of the tall figure watching them from the edge of the trees. It wasn't running after them. It didn't need to. "It knows what we look like now," she said quietly. "And we know what it looks like," Peter replied. "What do we do next?" Lisa held tightly to her research drive. "We find out why it's here. And we finish decoding that message. Someone tried to warn us. We need to understand why." As they drove through the night, Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that their lives had changed forever. Humanity was not alone, and at least one alien species knew about Earth. And it had sent a hunter deep in the outer rim of the galaxy, on a station hidden between 2 dying stars. A capsule hissed open. Cold mist poured out as systems began the awakening process. Inside, a tall figure lay motionless for several moments before its eyes snapped open. Crozet felt the familiar burn of revival. His muscles ached as the stasis chemicals left his body. He had been asleep for how long? 17 years, perhaps 20. Time meant little to an Uruk-hai hunter. Only the mission mattered. "Assassin Crozet, your skills are required," said a voice. Crozet sat up slowly. His dark gray skin absorbed the dim light of the room. 3 council members stood before him, their glowing eyes showing concern. This was unusual. The council rarely attended awakenings. "A serious situation has developed," continued the tallest council member. "A primitive species called humans has detected technology they should not have access to." Crozet stretched his long limbs. Humans, the bipeds from the outer spiral arm. Yes, they were not expected to discover deep space communication for another century. Something has accelerated their development. A screen appeared, showing a small blue planet. Earth, Crozet remembered from his training. The image zoomed in on a building, then further to show a female human working at a machine. "This is the scientist responsible," explained another council member. "She has decoded our monitoring signals and discovered the observation network. If this knowledge spreads, it could destabilize their entire civilization." Crozet studied the human female. She looked fragile, like all humans. Soft skin, no natural defenses. He had never understood how such weak creatures could advance so quickly. "Your mission is to eliminate the scientist and destroy all evidence of her discovery," said the 3rd council member. "The humans must develop according to the natural schedule. Any deviation threatens galactic stability." "What makes this human dangerous?" Crozet asked. "Their species cannot even leave their solar system effectively." The council members looked at each other. Their rate of technological advancement is concerning. In just 3 centuries, they'd progressed from simple combustion engines to rudimentary space travel. No other species has advanced so quickly without outside help. Crozet nodded. Speed could be dangerous. The Confederation had strict rules about development pacing. Species that advanced too quickly often destroyed themselves or, worse, threatened others. The human scientist has intercepted and partially decoded the warning signal, continued the council member. She must be stopped before she completes the translation or shares her findings. Crozet stood up, towering over the council members. His body, evolved for hunting across thousands of worlds, adjusted quickly to being awake again. "I will handle this matter," he said simply. 4 hours later, Crozet's ship prepared for departure. He reviewed the files on humans while his vessel loaded supplies. Humans were physically weak but showed unusual adaptability. They formed strong social bonds and demonstrated unpredictable problem-solving skills. "Most interesting," he muttered, reading about human warfare. They compensated for their physical limitations with clever tools and strategies, not entirely unlike the Urukai, though far less evolved. The council had provided detailed information about his target, Lysa Winters, doctor of astrophysics, no mate or offspring, respected among her peers. She worked for an organization called NASA and had recently been moved to a secure government facility. A simple mission, Crozet told himself as his ship entered the faster-than-light corridor. He had eliminated scientists from developing worlds before. They were usually easy targets, focused on their work, unaware of dangers beyond their understanding. Yet something about this mission felt different. The council had seemed worried, which rarely happened, and they had awakened him specifically, their most skilled hunter. For a single human scientist, as his ship accelerated through space, Crozet prepared his weapons and stealth systems. The journey to Earth would take 3 days in faster-than-light travel. He would use that time to study human weaknesses and plan his approach. The assassination would be clean and quick. The human would never see him coming. No one would know an alien had visited Earth, and the natural order of galactic development would continue as planned. Crozet checked the clock on his ship's console. The countdown the human had discovered showed 92 cycles remaining, more than enough time to complete his mission and return to stasis until the next threat emerged. Little did he know that Lysa Winters was not like his previous targets. Lysa Winters yawned and rubbed her tired eyes. The clock on her office wall showed 3:17 a.m., but she felt too excited to sleep. For 6 months, she had stared at these strange patterns in her data. Tonight, everything changed. "This can't be random," she whispered, looking at her computer screen. Lysa worked at NASA's Deep Space Research Lab in Colorado. While other scientists searched for planets or studied stars, Lysa analyzed cosmic radiation patterns. Most people thought her work was boring. They were wrong. The patterns appeared every 12 days. At first, they seemed like normal space noise. But Lysa noticed something others missed. The patterns repeated in exactly the same way each time. Nature didn't work like that. Only intelligence did. She took another sip of cold coffee and pressed a button on her keyboard. The computer began running her new translation program. Lysa had created it based on math principles that might work with an alien language. If she was right, the strange signals might actually mean something. The program ran for 20 minutes. Lysa paced around her small office, stopping occasionally to look at family photos on her desk. Her parents had wanted her to become a doctor. Instead, she chased signals from space. They still didn't understand her work, but they supported her anyway. A soft beep from her computer made her jump. "It's done," she said to herself, rushing back to her chair. On the screen, her program had converted the radiation patterns into a series of numbers and symbols. Most made no sense, but one section stood out clearly, a set of coordinates. Lysa checked them twice, then felt her heart beat faster. They pointed directly to Earth. Below the coordinates was something else, a sequence of numbers that decreased with each transmission. A countdown. Lisa picked up her phone to call her boss, then stopped. What if she was wrong? Scientists who claimed to find alien signals usually ended up as jokes. She needed more proof before telling anyone. For the next 2 hours, Lisa checked her work. Every test confirmed her findings. This wasn't natural radiation. Something out there had sent a message, and it included Earth's location and a countdown that would reach 0 in about 3 months. As the sun rose, Lisa finally fell asleep at her desk. She didn't notice the small red light on her computer that hadn't been there before, silently sending her discovery across the vastness of space. 2 days later, Lisa presented her findings to a small group of senior scientists. Most looked skeptical. "Dr. Winters, are you seriously suggesting we've received an alien communication?" asked Dr. Harris, the department head. "I'm not suggesting anything," Lisa replied calmly. "I'm showing you data. These patterns contain Earth's exact coordinates and what appears to be a countdown. Those are facts." "Facts can be misinterpreted," said another scientist. "Your translation program is based on assumptions that might be completely wrong." Lisa had expected this reaction. "That's why I brought these," she said, pulling out more papers. "These show the same pattern appearing in 7 different monitoring stations around the world. It's not equipment error." The room grew quiet as they reviewed her evidence. "Let's say you're right," Dr. Harris finally said. "What does the countdown mean? Is it a threat?" "I don't know," Lisa admitted, "but I think we need to find out before it reaches 0. That afternoon, government officials arrived at the lab. They spoke with Dr. Harris for an hour, then came to Lisa's office. "Dr. Winters," said a serious man in a dark suit, "I'm Agent Paul Wilson from National Security. Everything you've discovered is now classified. You'll continue your work with additional resources, but you cannot discuss it with anyone not approved by our office." Lisa nodded slowly. "So you believe me?" "Let's just say we're not taking chances," Agent Wilson replied. "Your lab is being relocated to a secure facility starting tomorrow." After they left, Lisa looked out her window at the ordinary people walking below. None of them knew that humanity had just received its first confirmed message from the stars, or that the message might be a warning. Somewhere across the galaxy, something had noticed Earth, and it was sending a countdown.